So, data communication in virtual reality. Data communication is a process where one can create a communication system with the use of software and hardware. The hardware component is the most important one, as far as placing the lenses to proper distance into stereoscopic 3D in order to almost trick your brain. Data is ciphered at the source and deciphered at the destination by the VR goggles when that process is complete. And Nishant's going to go ahead and take this slide.
Yep, as you can see the literature survey, right? So this basically tracks down how a human used to communicate with each other. So it started with Carrier Pigeons, then postal services, Morse code. Morse code was basically used for deciphering encrypted message from one end to another end so that the privacy or the private information remains safe, basically. Then came telephone, social media, PR. So there are so many means of communication between a person to person, and these are a few of the examples.
As you can see, in the ancient times of communication, we used to communicate with people at distance by means of mail, then finally carrier pigeons, postal service, Morse code, telephone, social media, and best of all, VR, which we have now entered the VR age. We've started from the very basics of papyrus and came all the way to 3G networks, 5G networks, etc.
And yes, and to add to that point, like it's basically improving every other day. Like Verizon is going to launch 5G from Boston, and you just name it. So the communication between a person to person is improving day by day. That includes both video conference calls or audio calls, or you can just communicate via text messages. So everything is improving. And this was just a brief history, and it can be tracked till, since 3000 BC.
Yep. So this is the next level of communication. It's an evolved communication medium. Basically, you could say this could be, when it reaches its full evolution, it could be the final form of data communication, because it's a complete surrounding in a virtual environment that basically becomes your world as you communicate with loved ones or play games, etc. Now, what is VR? It's a virtual place where one can experience a fabricated environment as if it were reality. The more virtual reality evolves, the more real it will become. The ultimate form of virtual reality will be indistinguishable from reality itself. We will also show a few examples of virtual reality during this presentation for you. But there is the important question you have to ask: will VR go too far?
Yep, like you can see Neo in the background. He just plugged himself inside the machine, and then he did his task. He played his role, trying to eradicate the viruses spreading across the whole system, trying to save the humanity. And it's just an example, a fantasy example, I guess.
Now, because of the lowering equipment and technology cost, VR is getting more popular day by day. And who knows, one day, maybe we'll be able to communicate with the other person in VR, making them feel like that person is right next to you. The medical field will also have great use of VR, bringing doctors together for any medical situations. Architects and artists will find use for VR in their projects as well, allowing them to view or display their art in a virtual landscape, or even survey it before printing with maybe 3D printer technology. And most important stress test for VR becoming more popular in our society will be the cost. The headsets used to cost about $1,000, $2,000. Now they're down to, I believe, $400 or so. So I believe it will be getting much more popular very soon.
It is already popular. Like people want to experience everything as clearly or as much as they can, right? For example, if we can take gaming services, right? people are actually going towards virtual reality. They're experiencing what's happening inside the game. Like if they just plug in their headset and then jump scare games or something like more adrenaline rush and everything. So it's getting popular and popular and popular day by day.
And you guys are all game developers within this, and we do use VR in games, as you well know. What I like to do with it is I've been working on making a music visualizer, and I will show you guys an example of that right now. Okay, here we go.
In this world of artificial light shit, your phone knows what you think before you type it. Oh God, I'm so gone, I'm so gone, I'm so long. In this world of artificial light shit, your phone knows what you need before you type it. Oh God, I'm so gone, I'm so gone, I'm so long. Maybe it's all just meant to be. You can be the memory, you can see the next level of evolution. This is the revolution.
So that was basically just a example of what it's capable of. It's very streamlined, but it's a complete encompassing experience with the music all around you and the 360 just surrounding you. So music experience in this fashion is actually much more powerful. All right, Nishant's going to take care of this slide.
Yep, as everyone knows that a 3D image always takes two eyes to actually create a 3D image, right? So left eye and right eye plays a crucial role when you are creating a 3D image. So this is just a biological, not definition, but that's how the image will be represented. It will spread by two lights, it will go in each eye, and then it will create the 3D image inside your head. And that the headset is just a general diagram of how the 3D, the mechanism is. Yep. So, like I said in the previous slide, right? It starts with the audio video input, right? Because audio also plays a crucial part because you want to know from which side the sound is coming from. Is it whether it's left or right side? And then there is filtering processes, then there is some mixers, and then those mixers will actually divide those rays of light basically in for the left eye and for the right eye. And that's how you will get your final image or your output. Right, and this is just a basic not electronics, but a PCB diagram of how the whole circuitry works.
Okay, so within this we have our depth of field, adaptive circle of confusion based filters, bilateral filtering, adaptive recursive filtering, and latency. Now, it sounds very lofty, but it's really just talking about the depth of field and the image quality that's available when this is layered in the 360 format.
Yep, like in previous slides I explained, right, that there are some mixers, there are some filters. So each and every block plays a crucial role in creating a 3D image, which can actually improve the experience of the person actually using it.
Now, we have a few videos that go viral in a new medium, all the different things that you can do the first time that others have not. I believe this example should still work. And if you have your mouse, you can, at a certain point, I believe you can rotate it allowed the 360. everywhere. The interaction is massive. If you can just fast forward to about 1 minute and 20. Yeah, so you're R2D2 here, and you are going through the Death Star. And there you have it. Okay, that's good. Thank you, Tara.
Yep. So these are just the technical terms or what kind of devices that we have to we use basically when we are creating a virtual reality based services. So there is display, but obviously there is stereoscopic audio input, USB that connects your headset to your system. And then there is head tracking. Head tracking is basically how you are moving your head, and that's how it will create the movement inside the virtual reality. Then there is the camera. Camera is an optional thing because you don't usually use it, but camera comes in play when you are actually trying to capture the whole room. It has different applications to it. If you want me to explain it in further depth, I can also explain it about the cameras part. Then there is gyroscope, accelerometer, again, that comes with the motion of the body. Then magnetometer, that is for the force that you create. And then there is positional tracking, where you are standing inside the room or where, and that actually depicts inside the virtual reality. So these are all different kinds of mechanisms or devices that you have to use, and all of them plays some vital roles if you want to create some immerse amount of experience.
Yeah. So, what are the drawbacks of VR? Less social interaction, much like the smartphone generation. Um, you'll notice people are less social since these phones sometimes take up more attention and focus than you should be giving them. And there's also the possibility of stress to the eye as the screen is much closer to your eyes, and a possibility of lesser exercise overall because you're living inside this virtual environment now. I think that can be tempered by the fact that they do have VR treadmills now, which are actually really cool. But at that price, they're really not. They're really not mass affordable. And of course, the biggest risk possible is that people will be unable to distinguish the virtual world from the physical world, and that would be that is a possibility. Hopefully, it doesn't get that far, but that would be the very worst case scenario. So the advantages of VR, of course, telecommunication, um, better a better ability to educate children across the world by the use of experience. Like instead of showing them a dinosaur in the book, you can take them to a virtual world where there is a dinosaur. Of course, virtual commuting and business meetings will be much more succinct and easy to manage within a virtual environment. And of course, you have the control of drones and robots, which will be the coolest part because we'll all get to have battle bots and things like that. So, if assume in the future we've cryptographed the solar system and you can experience all 9 planets and even maybe someone else's life on those planets by the use of VR at its highest form. We believe that eventually VR will directly interact with the person's brain and, surpass the headset and glasses. Maybe Elon Musk's Neuralink can have something to do with that, or another form of brain implants. Of course, we have to ask the question: is this ethical? I don't have the answer. I think everyone has to answer it for themselves. But I think in moderation, it shouldn't be bad. Do you have anything to add, Nishant?
Nope. VR is just an amazing tool or medium for people to experience something that they never experienced it.
So, what would VR take from us? It will require real-time processing data communication. 5G is coming out very soon, and I think with that addition, it will be much more effective as you can move massive amounts of data at a time in order to create that environment. It'll need a CPU, of course, at a extremely high speed and capacity. I wouldn't expect it to be possible on a Windows 95, but you know, there's people that can hook that up as well.
Yeah, this
So
will take big amount of processing power because it's taking so much of video input and audio input at the same time.
Now, as we mentioned earlier, the perfect form of VR would be one which was indistinguishable from reality. It is possible that a human civilization has reached that level of advancement in which it can create a so-called perfect virtual world. Statistically speaking, there's a very low chance that we would be the first organism to reach this level of advancement. So could this mean that we are the simulation? Dun dun dun. And that is it. I do have a video as well from that Tyro's gonna play for me. And you don't have to play the whole thing. You just play a little bit and like move the screen around. So
with no silver bullet to knock out the coronavirus, President Trump is
functionality.
suggesting medical experts look into exposing also pondering the possibility of injecting someone with a disinfectant.
And I say the disinfectant, it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that?
It's a cold summer, corona season, wrong time to catch a cold summer. My old chick hit me on my old number. Tell her that my heart still froze from her. It's a cold summer, it's Rona season, wrong time to catch a cold summer. It's still the world's ending, I said no wonder.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Okay. I'm
So that
sorry.
was basically all we had as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, you can see that's from a 360 camera. It allows you to, in real time, create 360 videos and whatnot.
Trying to cash in on my stock before it goes under. Seem like people going crazy, they got no hope.
And I assume this glitch effect is a deliberate artistic choice as well.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, well, there it is. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, rest of the video, for demonstrating that. Very cool.
Thank you.
And I guess this will be the part where we'll be asking we are opening the table for any questions to ask to these two amazing speakers.
Here, thank you. Oh, and also you guys could go ahead and follow me on Instagram. Let me get my shameless plug here. It's code Poku. The second O is a 0.
To both speakers, the one of the blockers, in my opinion, you can tell me if I'm wrong here, on the on the acceptance of the general consumer from buying a VR headset. There are obviously many obstacles, but the one outside of price, of course, that immediately comes to my mind includes the setup, right? The amount of setup necessary to play and make a VR goggle work. And while there's a lot of amazing progress being made there, I was just curious, amongst your current knowledge of VR, what do you think are some innovations that are coming up, as well as innovations you're hoping would happen that would make the setup process of getting a VR headset ready for any consumers? What do you see happening in the near future? So, as an example, like head tracking and body tracking is a very, very cumbersome process. Not to mention like a space stealing process to set up, and also expensive as well. And we're already seeing like a few goggles that uses the room scanning technology to actually figure out where your head is at. Any other similar sort of hardware shortcuts do you see that simplifies the interface of that medium?
Now, as far as making the setup easier, that is hard to say because the tracking, the positional tracking, as you said, is such a space stealing process where you need at least 10 feet, 10 to 12 feet sometimes. But one recent innovation that I like is the wireless. I know Oculus just came out with a completely wireless headset, and that, along with maybe improved tracking, I believe would be the most exciting. Like, if at a certain point you can do away with the controllers altogether, and maybe even a fusion of these VR headsets with something like the EKG reader controller to make it like a cerebro magneto type experience. That would be something that I would love to see happen. I don't know how long that'll take, but I think that's where it's headed. As far as that question, do you have anything to add, Nishant?
Yes. So correct me if I'm wrong, but you are asking if what are the people doing with current VR technology, right? How they are improving it, right?
Yeah, like what can we expect on the future of VR, specifically for making it easier for consumers to use it? Because again, a lot of the current problems I feel like there is just plain old the setup process. Even the wireless, for example, requires you to walk around your room and draw out what your head trackable area is, as an example.
No, I definitely agree with you there. Setup process is going to be there because this is a pretty new technology, right? And they are improving it day by day, which will improve, and I'm sure of it. But currently, what they're doing is they want people to have a full body experience in virtual reality. If you are moving, then you are moving, but not inside the room, like not inside the real room, but inside the virtual room. So they are trying to develop a technology that can support it. And once they do it, then they are going to go for the processing power, like how they can conserve more processing power and create as minimum as possible. So they are going step by step rather than going parallelly in each and every direction.
Thank you. That's appreciate the answer. I do have one more question. Actually, a few more. I'll have to think about a little bit about the second one, but yeah, one question that immediately comes to my mind. There's the notion of utilizing VR as like a video conferencing technology, and you have like VR chats right now that uses virtual avatars to kind of let people talk to each other in a single room. And I think that's really cool as a way of communication form. However, that obviously that setup doesn't allow for being able to represent yourself What are some like camera technologies, both from recording a music video and from a video conferencing perspective, making that more realistic? What are some camera technologies that are coming up to really help supplement and improve the VR communication process?
Yeah, so to answer that question, so it's not just the cameras, right? So you have to use sensors. And when I say sensors, so for example, you are standing like 5 feet away from me, right? Now, if I put that sensor on you and there is a red dot on you, have you seen those in the movies or somewhere, anywhere? Small red
Like
dots.
laser dots?
Yeah, laser dots. So those technology combined with the cameras can actually get the in-depth view how far the person is standing, and based on that they can create a virtual image from the reality to the virtual world. So technologies are there, yes, and they are improving day by day.
So kind of using the motion detection technology,
Yes.
but for still objects on walls and floors. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I mean, sensor was just an example, but yes, motion detection, sensors, gyroscopes, and so many speedometers, so many things you can use.
Mhm.
It's combination of so many different things into one.
It does sound like it requires like a dedicated room to make that happen, though.
Yeah, but if you know what you are using, right? For example, gyroscope. Have you used gyroscope?
Gyroscope?
Yeah, gyroscope. Yep. Sorry, my pronunciation is kind of, I have an accent.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, the gyroscope is good.
If you're talking about as a sensor, sorry, I'm thinking about the toy gyroscope. I know there's a sensor of it, and I think that's the one that detects tilt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me actually give you my own example. So when I was doing my bachelor's, I had this major project at the end of the whole college, right?
Mhm.
So I created this arm which you can basically remote control it from further distance. So that arm was using sensors, it was using different chip processing units, but it was pretty small, but you can still move that arm using a sensor which is on the gloves of your arm. Does it make sense? Does it answer it?
Yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah, and me myself, I'm from electronics and communication background, so I kind of have a good grasp on all the tech and everything. So you don't need too much or too many of the people, if that answers your question, but you need people who knows what they're doing, basically.
Okay. And yeah, I think I've summarized an idea of what I wanted to ask for question number 2. In regards to music, sharing music via a VR system, what are some advantages and challenges that you see coming forward? So obviously, for example, like current stereo has panning from left to right, but I would assume audio recording is a decidedly more on a VR scale, that is, where it's all 360. That's decidedly more difficult. Like you're adding a lot more dimensions to do stuff.
Yes, it is. It is challenging, especially like let's say if you're using spatial sound, particularly within a game. It means that each and every sound source you have to place it in relation to the player, in a fashion that they get that surrounding experience. Um, as far as music, a benefit that's coming up is um, something they call holophonic sound. So I don't know exactly how they create the effect, but what it does is they play the sound waves in a way where you feel it in different areas of your head, and they can make it seem like it's coming from any direction. Um, Seems something like a 3D sound effect or surround sound effect. Nishant, do you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, I think if I'm not wrong, there are already devices, not devices. Basically, there are already studios that do this kind of thing, 3D surrounding, audio recording and stuff like that. Like it's already out there, and we have been using it for quite a long time when it comes to sound.
And in your opinion, like, what is the advantage of the added technical difficulties? Like, what makes it worth listening to this full 360 surround sound?
It actually increases your experience, right? For example, if you have a surrounding system, right, into your home, then you have 2 speakers in your back, then 2 speakers in your front, and you're watching a horror movie. So if the demon is coming from your back left side, then you will hear, those walking sound from that particular speaker. Does it make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So there are already studios available that do this kind of stuff, and they are actually doing pretty good with it. Like, I wouldn't complain anything about sound. Like, there is so many technologies available.
Okay, one last question, I swear. You were talking, this presentation was literally about data and streaming it to the headset. Looking ahead, what do you think is the next couple or next few, whatever you think in priority, of sensory inputs that are going to be used? For example, touch, smell, that kind of stuff. Touch, smell, taste.
Okay. As
obviously,
far as touch,
Yeah, let me answer that, Opoku.
Okay.
So regarding taste and smell, right? I cannot say for sure, but regarding the senses, right? So let's say that I stick my finger into the electric board, right? I'm going to get a jolt, right? Same way you can use electricity to create a sensation in any part of your body if you use the correct devices or plates in form of devices to get the sensations.
interesting. So the technology is, if not already working, at least in the works.
Yes, like they are already working on it. Like if you ask me, then I'm also actually interested in it. Like how you can create sensation from the gaming, from the games that you are playing, right? If someone shoots you on your hand, then you should feel the sensation. Not as intense, but you should feel the pinch or something like that. But using electricity.
Disregarding the plausibility of it, what senses would you like to see also expanded upon in VR?
Definitely, like you suggested, taste would be something good, but I doubt that like you can create taste related sensations using a device. Like it will need inputs. Like for example, printer, right? You have to keep changing the ink every now and then if it runs out. Same goes for taste. Like if you have salt, sugar, you can mix different salt bases and everything, and create different kinds of taste using devices. But you have to keep on feeding keep on filling the whole cartridge.
and I do believe that we will eventually get taste, smell, but that will most likely need some type of input into your brain.
Right.
Whether they have a device where they can do that without piercing, maybe the EKG device or something like that. But
yeah, as Nishant already said, they're both chemical inputs, smell and taste. So yeah, might be not only touch would be interesting, but like temperature as well, at least to a point of comfort, might be interesting.
Yeah. We have different temperature devices that you use every now and then, right? Like portable heater or something like that. That same thing can be used here, but on minor scale.
All right, very cool. Thank you. I apologize for all the technical hiccups we had to deal with, but appreciated